What's up, guys? This is Archer's Journey Podcast. I'm Kagan.
I'm Blaine.
And we talk about all stuff archery. We are at Blaine's house.
Do we talk about archery, or are we just hunting, or is it a little bit of everything?
Today we're going to talk about how we got into hunting, kind of stuff we're going to do this year, just like a broad what we're going to do this year, and probably our setups. Go ahead.
Well, like I said, I'm Blaine Denham. Right now I'm shooting a Matthews Phase 4 33 in the granite, which they no longer make, and I don't know why, if that was a popular or if it wasn't, because it's kind of a mix to me of the tan and maybe a lighter shade, to me anyways.
Yeah, because like my TRX 34, it's like the shale color.
Yeah,
which is what they brought back this year, or brought this year.
Yeah, and to me it made it a little darker, but man, that shell pops. I've been eyeballing it ever since we went into the Okie land.
Yeah,
and it's probably gonna have to be on my next bow.
Oh yeah,
I love it. But anyways, yeah, a Phase 4 33, and right now I'm at 30 inches, 72 pounds, and a 300 spine HLR arrow with a 50 grain outsert that comes in it, and boning X3 vanes. So those are the ultra stiff. That's what I found that shoots really well for me. A lot of people are liking the X vanes. There's a little bit more flex in those, and that's actually what my wife's shooting right now. She's shooting a 3-inch also. Getting good drag out of those. Very high performance vane in my opinion. If you don't like the tack vanes, I think they're the way to go. I've had trouble with the tack vanes making them stick. Other than that, them things are awesome.
Tack vanes steer good. I've had a little trouble with sticking.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people are kind of in between that. Like, they either really love them or they're not a fan of them because the shelves on them are so thin. But also, that's how they're cutting weight on them things.
Oh, yeah.
Them tack vanes are stupid light. Yeah. But yeah, HLR with the X3 vanes. I do not know which broadhead I'm going to run this year. I kind of run multiple, and you never really know. And honestly, I'm the guy that carries 2 or 3 different types of broadheads in my quiver. Are you the same way, or are you kind of one or the other?
I'm pretty sold on one broadhead at a time.
Yeah, but I could get that.
What all are you shooting on your bow?
Right now, I'm shooting an Ultraview scope with a red line dovetail on it. The single pin right now, I need to play with the 3-pin cartridge, and I'm really liking my sight picture with that single pin. I know it may kind of be a little weird trying to hunt with that, but at the end of the day, I'm very accurate with it, and it's hard to beat accuracy. And it seems to me like if I start getting multiple pins in there, I get a lot of pin glare.
Yeah,
in my opinion. So that single pin right now is rocking for me. Bee Stinger stabilizers, 15 inches in the front and 10 inches in the back. Running 8 ounces in the back and 3 in the front right now, and that seems like it's working for me pretty good. I've got my pitch set in pretty narrow to my bow, and it's just what I'd like to run. And then Ultraview rest, or Ultraview grip,
and then the Gen 1, Gen 1 B-roll grip.
Yeah,
is that green one you got from me?
Yeah, it is. And right now it's rocking for me. In past, I've always loved the Matthews grips. It seems like it's always worked for me.
Yep.
But I started noticing if I was really pushing hard through my shot, my bow would start to roll.
Yeah.
So I've kind of switched that out for that flat grip, and I've liked it. And I've shot it bare too, and just off the shelf. And I like it, but it seems like it's stretching me out just a little bit, where my pull is starting to, kind of make my pin float a little heavy. So that Ultraview is really, really nice, and
good.
I'm digging it. But yeah, 15 on the front, 10 on the back, and it works. It's kind of ridiculous for hunting, some people think. To me, it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah.
I sit in a big ground blind, or if I'm up in a tree, I don't think I've ever had it really bother me. And it's what works, and different strokes for different folks, in my opinion.
No, that's exactly right.
But yeah, that is my setup. That is what I'm running, and more than likely, the 3 broadheads I'm kind of looking at are the Dead Meats, Mega Meat, and then the Severs right now, and kind of playing with some others. That hide. I've really been doing some research on that. Man, don't quote me on that right now.
Yeah.
I've just been watching Elk Shape shoot him in Texas.
Yep.
And he is just talking them way up. So I've got to do some testing on that. But them severs, man, they're nasty. They come sharp. They're stupid tough. That pig that I got,
I remember
weeks
seeing
ago,
what they did to that pig.
They're it. And I think they're reasonably priced too. I mean, $15 a piece for a titanium broadhead.
And those are the 2.0s.
Yeah, right? That's 2.0. That's what I've enjoyed shooting. I think for whitetail, that's 2 inches great. If you're shooting 70, probably 65 pounds. I wouldn't go lower than 65, but 65 pounds and above, no matter your draw, I think you're pretty golden on that 2 inch and big wound channel, man. I mean, if you make a marginal shot, I think in the end it's going to save you. And I've had it save me a couple times with those mega meats. And my biggest thing on those is tree branches, other things that are kind of, may clip that a little bit. And those blades, they're just so long. They're not as durable as some others and what they can be. But out of the package, stupid sharp and fly like a dart. If you got a tune bow, you do not have to worry about them things. They are a little loud, though, in my opinion. The way I've shot them and shooting them at 60, you could really hear them whizzing down. I don't know if that's maybe a lighter arrow on my end, but it seems like I'm hearing a lot of that wind drag.
If you weight it down, it's going to cut down on the sound a lot anyway. But those mega meats, they are just a little loud, but they like Blaine said, if your bow's tuned, they fly really good.
Yeah. But that's my setup for this year. Now we're going to see what Kagan's shooting. So what are you running this year?
I'm running a lift 33 at 75 pounds, 28.5 inches, shooting a 300 spine arrow, shooting the RIP TKOs. Got a bunch of V1s, a bunch of V3s. Trying to figure out what my pocketbook says I can shoot more.
That can make a difference. I mean, if you start shooting into that's like that hog, man. Them gold tips, they didn't stand a chance once he laid over.
And them airstrikes flew good.
Yeah,
too.
They did. I really enjoyed them, but as soon as I heard about them HLRs, I knew I had to get my hands on them.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you.
I'm Victory fanboy. I've loved them. I love the weights they put in Victory. They seem like they just get arrows right.
Yeah, because those 300 spines I think are 8.1. Yeah.
And they're great.
My TKOs are 8.8.
You could really build an arrow out how you want them to.
Yeah,
I mean, you could put weight up front. You could go with a little heavier vein on the back, arrow wrap, and it's not going to make as big of a difference as shooting some other arrows. And there are other arrow companies that are doing it good too.
Absolutely.
Easton just come out with their new 5.0.
5.0. I've been eyeballing those.
I've kind of looked into them, but right now I think I'm going to stick with Victory. I've shot the Kinetic Pierces before, and then the Easton 4 mils, the long range Axis.
Yep.
I've loved those arrows. I've shot that deer right there was shot with a Exodus.
Yeah.
And
I've heard good things about those.
Oh, dude, it does a number on them. I mean, sharp, good tip on them. You blow right through the shoulder.
Yep.
And you do not have to worry about that tip curling. I mean, that's a great broadhead. And those arrows, I love them, but they're just a little on the heavy side. And all 4 mil arrows, I think, are going to be a little heavier, and it's just depending on you. I mean, I don't think you're going to get that much. You're going to gain or lose from shooting a 4 to a 5. I really don't.
No, like I enjoyed shooting the TKO or line of arrows. I thought about the VAPs, but the 300 spine VAP TKOs are like 9.3 GPI. They're heavy.
Yeah.
But back to my build. So I'm running lift 33, 28.5 inches, 75 pounds, shoot 300 spine arrow, run 4 Fletch Blazers, run them 75, 105, or just straight up 4 Fletch, trying to figure out which ones I like. I think I'm going to go with 75, 105s. 50 grain outsert system from Victory, 100 grain field tip / broadhead. Running a Hamsky Hybrid Hunter Pro, the micro tune. Ultraview stabilizers. I really like the shorter Ultraview stabilizers. I'm running 15 in the front, 12 in the back. They work great. And then I'm shooting a B3 hinge release and Excel landslide sight with a UV3 scope with the single pin.
You've got that hinge hot too.
Yeah.
I've got to experience that today, and I had to go swimming for an arrow.
It's not as hot as Neil Cooley's.
Yeah, I'm
shout
not a handheld guy, man. There's just I've tried and tried, and I've tried to make myself to love them. I am old school all the way. Index release, pull through my shot.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that.
No, and I think it's, like I said, different strokes for different folks. It seems like you've got your stuff dialed. The Hamsky, that I'm curious about trying to run one of those.
I love it.
I think they look good. They're bulletproof.
Yeah.
You can change it in the field if you have something going on with that string versus a cable driven.
Yeah, I do like how you can adjust it on the fly. Like if something happens and your string stretches. I have the one with some of y'all's going to know if you run it. It's the one with the little rubber piece about halfway down the string. I run that one on my hunting bow. I also shoot competitive archery. I'll get into my setup on that. But that you loosen it out a little bit. You loosen a little football out, pull it back tight, tighten it up, you're good to go. So I really like it on that. And it just that Lift 33 is a shooter.
Yeah, they're great, man. Yeah. I kind of regret not waiting. Yeah. And I use the excuse of I had a Halo on for years. I loved that bow.
That's a shooter too.
Yeah. I mean, speeds were phenomenal on that thing. And then my limbs ended up splitting. So I told my wife, I'm like, hey, I need a new bow. And she didn't know better at the time. So she's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, yeah, it's I can't shoot it no more. And so I bought the Phase 4 when it come out, and I love that bow.
Yeah, I shot a Phase 4.
That lift, man, there's just something about it. Them 80-pound limbs. God, if you are a speed freak, dude, them things are just wicked. And the new cam system on them, it's unbelievable. Matthew's done so much with that bow. I mean, they shocked everyone with it.
I really like the new limb shift. Yeah, it's limb shift because Bowtech
on the Lift X. That's like they're just knocking that bow up.
It's great for people to. It's great for everyone. I'll be honest. It's great for everyone.
Yeah.
Even me, I have my own shop out of my house, and I would still rock it. It's probably my next bow build to 29.
That's why I just go to him and have him do all my stuff.
I like it. It's definitely my second passion next to what I do for my full-time job.
I think, in my opinion, too, though, if you're working on your own stuff, you kind of by the fly, hey, something's not right.
Take a book, page out, Elk-shaped book. No one cares about your stuff as much as you do.
No, that's exactly right. Yeah. I think just being able to work on your own stuff, it's like, troubleshooting your pickup. If you're out there hunting or doing something and you don't have a clue, it's just that much more stressful than versus, hey, this is what's going on. I know how to fix it. Get it done, get back to your hunt. I think that has costed so many hunters, whether you're west, wherever. I mean, I've had it here, and we're kind of out in, Egypt. And so if something goes on, and if we didn't have your bow press and stuff, we're going to have to drive an hour, 45 minutes, and our hunt's done for the day.
Yeah, that's about what it is to Okie land.
Yeah. By the way, them guys are great. Okie Land, them guys do everything right. They are very passionate about what they do. They are going to make sure you are satisfied by when you leave. I can't talk enough about Brent and Chris, man. They have helped me so much. I mean, it was so frustrating going into a bow shop where them guys just, you were in and out. They didn't care.
Me and my wife went. I'm not gonna name drop the pro shop in Springfield, Missouri, but we went up there. It's her laughing in the background. Her and I went up there for a honeymoon to the Wonders Wildlife Museum, and those guys were dicks.
That's a heck of a honeymoon.
Yeah, dude, it was great. We stayed in the Angler's Lodge right across the street.
That's awesome that she liked that.
It was her idea.
There you go.
Yeah.
She sounds like a keeper there.
Yeah, she bought me my first target bow, actually.
Man.
So I'll get into the target bow I'm shooting right now. I'm shooting a Shocker Matthews TRX 34. It's the 2021 model, so it's TRX 34. Running another Hamsky on it. Actually, the exact same Hamsky I'm running on my hunting bow. I'm running on my target bow. Same model.
Are you running a lizard tongue on that, or is it just still the whale tail that they put on? I don't know what they call it.
I know what you're talking about. It's the big wide one. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
That's the one. I love it. The cage don't get in my way. I shoot DTAC 25 by Victory. Shoot blazers. On my target arrows, I'm actually shooting 4-degree helical on them just because I'm an ABT, bro.
I think, especially shooting indoor, getting that helical is going to make sure your arrows stable out of the bow. I mean, you have
Absolutely.
such a short distance to the target.
Yeah.
You want to make sure, if you're torquing whatever, that arrow is going as straight as it can.
Yeah.
And I believe in the helical too. And if you're 4-fletch guy, that's great too. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. If it works for you, there's a lot of guys out there that shoot 4-fletch.
Yeah.
I mean, hunting, everything.
Yeah. I mean, I shoot 4-fletch on my hunting arrows, and I love them. I mean, we shot today, and they just fly so good.
Yeah.
I've got that bow tuned with those. I've thought about going to the SK2s by Flex Fletch. Great guys over there, by the way. None of this is sponsored, by the way. We're just simply putting out there what we like to use. And if it works for us, it's bound to work for somebody else.
Yeah. There's a million ways to skin a cat. That is the greatest thing about archery is, especially like going to tack, I loved seeing everyone's setups. I think that was like the most fun is like being able to see, hey, this guy's doing this guy's doing that. That's great. And kind of being able to take some of that information and be like, well, does it work for me? If it's working for them. And, that is truly, to me, the best thing about archery is being able to do what you want to do. No one's setup is exactly the same.
Yeah.
There's always going to be differences.
So I'm running the Matthews TRX 34, running a Hamsky rest. UltraView stabilizers, running a 30 and a 12 with as much weight as I can physically stand on there. And it's a lot. I'm running like 10 in the front and right around 20 in the back because I'm a ×2 guy on my weights. Shooting VTAC arrows, and then I run the UV B-rail grips on both of my bows. I like the big flat back on them so I can really push into my bow. I've got big wide hands and they just fit real good.
Sorry,
you're good.
I was token.
And I run a B3 exact 3D sight and a UltraView scope with a 6-power lens and I think it's a B clarifier.
Are you going to stick with that setup, or do you kind of for next year have some ideas of, hey, I kind of want to do this or change that or anything particular on that?
Really depends on if my wife's going to let me buy another big bow, because I've got a 29.5 in the light for the next bow, and then I wouldn't mind another 38 or a 40 TRX models. I really like the new titles. Something about those TRXs that they feel so good.
I really just don't think you can go wrong with the Matthews. I mean,
no, that's coming from a guy. I've shot 2 different bow brands. Bowtech was my first bow. Killed my first animal with my Bowtech SS34. Great bow. And I just trade, sell, trade. I ended up with a Matthews and hadn't really went back.
Yeah, they're great bows. And I'm not saying, you got Matthews or die. I'm just a fan of them. They've worked for me. Yeah. They're tough. Matthews stands behind their product. Absolutely. They really do.
I mean, the lifts had the limb the lifts had the limb issue, and then they said, you know what, lifetime limbs on them. So the fact that they'd stand behind a product like that, and don't quote me on the warranty thing they did. I don't remember. I've been blessed. I haven't had to send mine in. I hope I don't. Knock on wood. But
I think there was no questions asked on that deal because it was a small batch. It wasn't like from the beginning. It was somewhere in the middle, I think.
I mean, out of the 2 dozen people I've talked to, one, maybe 2 of them had the limb issue.
Yeah, but Matthews is great. I mean, they're all great. It depends on what fits you.
Shot a Bowtech Reckoning 38 Gen 2 the other day. Oh my God, that man!
I tried that RX.
You tried the RX, RX8 Ultra,
and it was good. I mean, it had a great back wall to it, smooth draw, and I couldn't hate on it. Yeah. I really couldn't. I could not nitpick that bow. I would love to set one up and just kind of play with it and see how it feels. After a week of shooting, I think to really be able to tell, you got to kind of go out, do a little bit of long range, and kind of see how that bow holds for you.
Yeah,
but enough about our bows. Enough about the tech stuff.
I'll go in all in. We can make we can make an hour and a half video and it'd be nothing about.
Yeah, if not, we're just gonna sit here all night and talk about be nerds about archery, which still learning. And I mean, you're never gonna stop.
Absolutely.
But we're gonna get into how we got started, where we're at now, what do we got for the future, what people can look forward to seeing us do. We're going to try to get some Instagram videos of some stuff, kind of, play by play of what we do.
Yep.
We go out and practice, we all get into a friend group. We have this little goofy belt that we bring. I won it tonight. Oh, I didn't bring it in.
Yeah.
But I won it tonight. I got lucky. Just played a game of deer, and we've done Vegas rounds, we've done everything, and I think that's just a good way. If you got a lot of good buddies you go out and shoot with, it's just fun, man. It is. So archery is great.
Absolutely.
It literally brought me and you. We
grew up together. Yeah. He's a year or so older than me, and we were friends in high school, but really we
kind of grown apart from after high school, and then we started shooting our bows, and then realized like, hey, dude, we're a lot
alike. I shoot a bow. Yeah, we live 20 minutes apart. Why not hang out?
Yeah. So it's great. But anyways, back to how did you get started bow hunting? What made you? And matter of fact, just what got you into hunting? Like, what really kind of set it off for you?
I've always wanted to hunt. I never really got into it. My dad's hunted for a long time. It just wasn't really my thing. And I think part of that was growing up, we never had a spot we could hunt consistently year after year, like other people's got. And I went out one too many times without seeing anything, and I just lost interest.
You just had bad experience, kind of bad taste in your mouth, like, hey, I'm wasting time out here. I get that. So, it seems like a lot of people that could make or break them, especially a new hunter. That's like Dylan, we got him into hunting, and man, he powered through it. Like, we could not get him on a deer. It seemed like every time he could come out was just hot, windy, just could not hit the dot, and we were seeing deer every time he wasn't around. It's like we started calling him the unlucky horseshoe.
For a long time, that's how I thought I was.
Man, it's just it's a struggle, but if you're feeling that and you're in that rut, man, just keep powering through. I mean, really.
This time last year was the first time I'd ever killed anything with a bow. I got that SS. Yeah. This time last year.
That's awesome.
I got that SS-34, and my dad paid for me, my brother, and my dad a guided hunt at Rack Attack Outfitters in Fairview. Those are great people. Austin's a great dude. He loves it, and he'll treat you right if you go up there. Prices are real good, especially if you've been in this area.
I think it's just a good way for someone that hadn't got their feet wet to kind of experience.
Absolutely.
Or if you're kind of working through some stuff and you're getting overexcited, adrenaline's kicking your butt, like it has me before. You're going to get shots on animals, lower pressure, and have opportunity. And that's the biggest thing, in my opinion. Getting opportunity. You can't shoot what's not there. You can't practice and not see anything. You have to get experience.
Absolutely.
Some way, somehow. I mean, it's not always about the kill, but I think if you're not getting experience shooting stuff, you could be in a real rut doing it.
Oh, absolutely.
I was for a couple years, where it just seemed like I could not make it happen. But anyway, so you got started on shooting the ram.
Yeah, we went up there to Rack Attack, shot that ram, shot him at 31 yards with an Annihilator XL broadhead at 100 grains. My total arrow weight at the time was like 380, 385. I was dumb, but I like to have fun. And the only reason I shot light is because my brother and my dad's always, we're back, technical difficulties. We're filming on an iPad right now because that's all I knew how to do. Jump back into the hunt. First animal I ever killed with a bow. It was a ram at Austin, at Fairview at Rack Attack. Shot it with a 385 grain arrow with a Annihilator XL 100 grain. Shot 31 yards.
How did that do with 300? Because you're going to start some controversy here with light, heavy,
I'm here to start shit. I'm here to start shit and drink Red Bull. So it actually, I don't shoot stuff in the front shoulder. I shoot stuff in the Vital V. Most of our listeners are going to know what the Vital V is, so I'm not going to explain it.
Ranch Fairy.
Yeah. If not Ranch Fairy, or this is the shoulder, the scapula, and you have this void area that is the vitals. Shoot right there. You look like you're in the shoulder, but you're really right behind it, and you're in all the goodies. Smoked him right there. Clean pass through. I mean,
with what grain arrow?
385.
385.
Below 400.
You don't need 800 grains, people.
And that was me pulling back.
Yeah, she caught me singing. You're welcome, people. That's extra next time.
All right, we're back. Technical difficulties again.
We'll figure it out one day.
And this is our first episode. We're learning as we're going.
We're just here to shoot the shit and have fun, man. I mean, we do it all the time anyways. So why not put it out for someone to see if they catch a little bit of advice from it? That's great. If they're like, hey, we're not going to be like these guys. I mean, whatever way, it's helping you. So you're welcome. You're not welcome. I don't know.
Yeah.
We're just here. We might as well just talk about it.
Yeah.
And
we're gonna get into something good here in a minute.
Yeah.
I got something brewing. I'm just gonna spit out.
Oh, goodness.
But right now we're
back to the ram hunt.
Yeah. Right now we're gonna go back to my first
all over the place. Sorry. Yeah. If you don't like it, just don't watch. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Go ahead with your ram hunt.
So 385 grain arrow right in the vital V. Man, he 31 yards piled up. About 40 yards later, it was great. My dad and my brother got to watch me shoot mine. I got to watch my brother shoot his on a very, very controversial shot. He took a frontal shot at 45 yards. Absolutely sprayed.
That's a deadly shot if you make it happen.
Yeah, buddy. He shot him right at the base of the neck, man. He got my brother shooting. At the time, he was shooting 65, 70 pounds, 29 and a half inches, I'm sorry, and probably close to a 500 grain arrow. And he buried a good foot of that arrow in that ram. He shot a big Texas doll.
That's awesome.
Big,
man.
pretty Texas doll.
That's awesome. So that kind of sparked you back up?
Absolutely.
That's what that was doing for you? So that's great, man. So, and then after that, kind of how did you go about it? Like, man, this is it. This is
after that, I wanted to shoot my bow as much as I could every single day. So I got into target archery, more specifically 3D archery with the ASA, and I love it. I still do it to this day, which I know that's 2 years ago, but I still love it just as much then as I do now. If I could make a living out of it, I would.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah.
I mean, that is the dream.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
For every hunter that's ever watched a YouTube video, like, man,
I'm trying to be like Waddy.
Oh, dude. Don't even get me started on him, man.
I'm trying to be like Levi Morgan.
You know, I didn't watch cartoons growing up. It was Bone Collector, Real Tree Road Trips. I mean, that was my stuff.
Pigman.
Yes.
What's that Ted Nugent show? Spirit of the Wild?
Yes. Man.
Yeah.
And that is what I grew up. I mean, you know, we have a little bit different past. You know, I kind of grew up in this.
Yeah.
And I think you got into it in a great time. All the information, everything just was out there for you to
This is a wonderful thing for when I'm still starting out, but this has been a wonderful thing.
Yeah. I mean, man, it's just the internet is a crazy thing nowadays. You can literally look up anything on it.
And there's a ton of guys out there that post videos.
Yeah,
that have a wealth of knowledge.
Way more than us. And I hope everyone kind of uses that to their advantage. I mean, it is the greatest thing.
It is.
So we got on your ram hunt. Then after that, you got sparked up, was lit up, on fire, ready to go.
Yeah.
And then kind of how did you transition into like maybe whitetail or some other stuff?
So first year I killed anything, I didn't kill a single deer. I killed that ram in April. I didn't kill a single deer. Or no, did I? I keep wanting to say that ram was 23. I don't remember. I think it was. So I don't remember exactly, but this last deer season, I got to shoot my first whitetail with a bow. I got to shoot it with my dad in a tree stand about 10 yards from me. I shot my first one at 22 yards with a Schwacker 207, which was my broadheaded choice last year, and probably going to be my broadheaded choice this year. They're great. They fly so true. It's a good 2-inch cut. They're hard to beat.
For the longest time, I mean, that was a broadhead you could screw on to any bow, and it was going to fly.
Absolutely.
I mean, them things were darts.
Yeah.
The only controversy I had with them is the blades opening inside the animal and small entrance. It's kind of my only, argument with them.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, man, you can't beat accuracy. I think that's the biggest thing. If you're not putting it where you need it, you're already done.
Absolutely. Well, I shot my first deer last year. I killed. How many did I kill? No, I only killed one deer last year. Shot her at 22 yards. I shot a second deer last year, but I found her. She was fine. Stupid light arrow, 365, 370 grains, 107 yards. I just don't think I had enough energy that far away to penetrate. I saw her 6 days later. The arrow was out of her. She was moving around fine. So I know she wasn't dead. It bums me out that I made a good shot. I saw it in the binoculars. It was a good shot. I just bums me out that I didn't kill her. I know I hit her good, but stuff happens.
How was that first one though? That
Oh,
first
dude.
experience of getting.
I was so excited. I almost fell out of my 12-foot tree stand. I'm sitting there screaming, hooting, hollering like an idiot.
Did you get buck fever after? Did like the adrenaline dump just go into effect?
No, not really.
No, really.
I was hyped. So funny story. I'm sitting in the tree stand just like this. I'm playing Monopoly Go on my phone. My wife's over here laughing at me. She got me playing that game. Playing Monopoly Go on my phone. I'm looking around every couple seconds, and my dad, probably 15 yards over past me, about the 10 o'clock area, and I look up and I go to look over because I could see something moving out of the corner of my eye, and I look up and I see my dad doing this. So I reach over and I grab my bow, I put my hinge on it, and just the way I rock, not paying attention, my arrow fell off. So I'm sitting there resetting my hinge, and meanwhile they loop back around, and I shoot this doe 6 yards from my dad's tree, but it's about 21, 22 yards from me. I pull back, I put it right where I want it, breaks, and I'm hooping and hollering like an idiot. We climbed down almost immediately because I could hear her crash. We were hunting in a thick patch of timber, then it was an open field, and then another thick patch of timber. She ran, between 50 and 60 yards and piled up. It was
That's
awesome.
awesome, man. That is really, and that really sets you off there.
Yeah. With that happening, I've got, what we got planned this year, 5 or 6.
Yeah,
probably between 4 and 6 hunts.
Just depending on funds and stuff coming together.
Yeah.
And
it really depends on if I draw.
Yeah.
If I get an elk tag, I think he's going to go with me.
Yeah. I'll be your packer, man.
I'm cool with that. If I luck out to draw an elk this year, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. And which I'm still putting in for the Wichita. I've been doing for a couple of years.
Yeah.
I haven't got lucky yet, but I've had some buddies and
I've
go up there.
I've put in for that one. Last year was the first year.
Yeah.
I put it in. I only put in for elk, which I'll put in for more this year.
Yeah, I need to get better about that too. Yeah. I always miss the window.
Yeah,
I'm just I'm.
It's right there around turkey season,
and I'm too busy chasing gobblers, man. That is a big addiction of mine.
Yeah, it gets me going. But how'd you get into hunting?
So I got started very, very young. My dad was a big hunter. His dad was a hunter. And so it just ran in the family. I mean, it just come natural.
Yeah.
I remember being a kid, too little to hunt. My dad was always going out hunting. And I just remember I couldn't wait for him to get home and see if he got anything. First thing I'd do is run outside, look in the back of his truck and see. Dude is just a monster killer. He finds them, man. The amount of knowledge from that man is amazing. I mean, I really got blessed, and he kind of gave me the path and showed me. And he started off bow hunting.
Yeah,
he was a very big bow hunter. And so finally, when I got old enough, he got me my first cheap little plastic bow. Said, "Start practicing."
Yeah.
So got into that, and I remember being that little. We didn't have a target. We shot a giant foam block. I have no idea where he got this from. I don't know, because he worked on rigs. I don't know if he got it from a rig or what he was that person. He was going to make it work. If he didn't have to buy it, he wasn't going to.
Yeah.
So I remember him shooting those. Were they the Eastons? Those big old aluminum arrows?
Yeah. So my dad still shoots them. They have 25. My dad shoots the 25-14.
Yeah. And I don't know what his were, but I just remember the sound of them.
Yep.
He had that little blade.
Yeah.
Barrel rest. I just remember he would always put shrink tubing on them to quiet it down.
Yep.
And that's what he shot. And man, he just muzzies. He was a huge muzzy fan back in the day. That's all he shot deer with.
Amen.
And
last I heard, Pigman still runs muzzies. If
they work, works.
Yep.
And he was fixed blades. I think at his time, the mechanicals were just coming up.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of moved away from fixed blades eventually and got into the Rages. He really liked those coming up. And then Rage kind of had a bad year or so, and it just, I don't know really the whole spiel on that deal.
Yeah.
But, he's a big Muzzy fan. Anyways, so that kind of lit the spark for me, was, being young, seeing my dad go out and have this success. And he was the kind of guy that he knew, I am hard-headed, stubborn, and I have to figure it out.
Yeah.
So he kind of took me on my first few and shot my first deer with the muzzleloader. down off of a wheat field into a creek bottom.
You got that deer with you?
No, not the. I probably should have, but just a little button buck, you know. And so that really, you know, just set a fire under me. It's like, yep, I am doing this the rest of my life. And so ever since then, you know, and then I got big into, you know, because he loved bow hunting. So started shooting my bow, getting practice up, getting strong enough to be able to pull, you know, proficient pounds to kill a deer. And went out on my first few hunts, had no success, had no clue what I was doing. I don't think there was the information there is today. You know, it was just, you know, hey, get your arrows, practice. And I remember him, so he had this big old square sight on his Browning.
Yeah.
And so on that square sight, you could run your pins left or right. So when you shoot your broadheads at different yardages, your pins would look like this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and so it's because no one tuned, no one know, knew. Yeah. You know, you get your arrows, you shoot, you sight your bow.
Them old bows, all you could do really was you could maybe yoke tune if you had the stuff for it. And I mean, it's not near as prominent now as it was, I'm sorry, not near as prominent then as it was now, like bow presses and whatnot.
I always remember him telling me, aim low because your broadheads, or aim high because your broadheads are going to hit low. It was just you didn't tune. You tuned the bow, or you sighted the bow into the broadhead. That was it. And so my first bow was a little kid's diamond setup, you know, complete setup, and shot my first doe with that. And then it was like, this is it. Bow hunting is all I want to do. And still kind of threw some rifle hunts in there. You know, this was actually a really cool deer that I shot with my dad. Yeah. So he actually took me out of school when I was 10 years old. He's been watching this group of bachelor bucks for I don't know how many weeks. And he was just that guy. He could go out and sit for days just watching the deer to figure out how to kill him. I mean, that's where his success has come from, is getting a pattern to deer.
Patience.
Yes. And I mean, I'm still struggling with that today of learning how to figure these deer out. But he took me out of school and had a spot set up for me and took me out, and that was my biggest buck to date for a long time. I just now actually probably beat that buck this year with that 155. And so that is something I hold near and dear to me. I could go out and show anyone the exact spot, the exact, you know, everything about that hunt. That's just remembered so well. But so yeah, a lot of hunting with my dad when I was younger. But like I said, he knew I was going to be hard-headed and stubborn. So I think after this one, he's like, okay, I've showed you. So you're on your own. Yeah, gave me the boot. And so I think
I couldn't see that. I did the boot motion.
Yeah. So at like 11 to 12, I was hunting by myself. I was hanging my own tree stands. As a matter of fact, I started taking over doing most of the work because he knew I needed to learn on my own. And so, you know, ever since then, it's always been do it yourself, figure it out. And, you know, like I said, now have YouTube. Great thing.
I've been blessed to have my little brother. Helped me a lot.
And that's awesome, man. If you have someone in your life to share it with, that's even better. That's more important than the trophies, being able to share it with other people. The trophies don't mean nothing if you don't have no one to share it with.
Like I'm not a trophy hunter. I think anything you go out and kill is a trophy.
That's what I mean. I mean, you know, trophies are what you make it, and that's kind of, you know, take the word how you mean it. I mean,
what'd you say? Different strokes for different folks.
Exactly.
And like he enjoys hunting, chasing big deer, and that's awesome. I'm
big
not
deer to me, you know. I'm sure to some people, and it is what it is. And you know, that's like I said, the passion has always been young for me. It started off young. Before then, I could remember going out with a Red Ryder BB gun, shooting at anything that moved, including windows, and got my tail lit up for that.
And I remember, I'm gonna tell myself, I remember very first animal period that I killed was with one of those buck brand Red Ryder thing, the BB guns,
the little single cock.
I killed a pigeon, or a pigeon or a dove. I was 8 years old. My dad bought me that BB gun for my birthday, and my grandma lit my tail up. I still remember beating on
Still remember that.
Yep.
That's crazy, man.
But and then she made me eat it afterwards.
Yeah, that's
shout out Nanny Pat.
But ever since then, man, it's just been diving down so many rabbit holes, trying to, you know, perfect it, even though you're never going to be perfect at this. I mean, there's, you know, only perfect man is God. you're not going to be perfect at this.
And us shooting
strive for it, but
us shooting at the astronomical ranges we do, that all that does is increase our max effective range.
Yeah. So, man, I just love watching them arrows drop in.
Like, realistically, I'm never going to shoot at anything. I'm never, with the exception of one time, I'm probably never going to try to kill anything over 70 yards. 80 maybe.
I think it depends on the person, though.
Yeah.
I mean, like this year, I struggled this year. I'm going to leave it all out on the,
Yeah.
And shot 2 bucks, 2 of my biggest bucks to date if I had ever retrieved them. And first one, I'm not even going to name the broadhead I shot, but it was a brand new broadhead, and it wasn't the broadhead. I mean, I'm not even going to go there and blame that. It was me, dude. I don't know. The shot looked clean. Arrow was covered.
You talking about the 180, 190?
No, that was the 148 that I shot opening day.
Oh, okay.
And so, thought I made a good shot. Calling everyone like, "Hey, man, big buck down. Where you at?
Yeah.
I need some draggers." I mean, he went down in the canyon. I knew. I was like, crap, that is going to be a heck of a drag. And so, get down in the stand and could not find blood, dude. The arrow was covered. And the shot looked good. I was shooting an Aluminok.
This one's new to me. I've never heard this story.
Yeah, I forgot I never told you this.
You're good.
But, setting in the saddle for the first time. First year saddle hunting. Love it. And
Big saddle hunter.
Made the shot, and like, dude, I was in the stand for 20 minutes and he come out.
Yeah.
And I was hunting 2 deer, both target bucks. And so he comes out. I'm getting shakes over here, like, all right, it's going to happen. He gets up. I sit there and wait for him broadside, get my pin on him, starts pulling through my shot. Boom, breaks. Wah! No, it broke. It broke. No trigger punching.
Shout out to Joel Turner.
Only when you need to. Only when you need to. But breaks, mule kicks. I'm like, all right, he's done. Luminov looked perfect. Looked like it. And what I'm starting to think now is because I was so high up, and it was starting to drop in terrain anyways, and it was on the edge of a canyon to begin with.
Yeah.
So I was 20, 25 feet up, but I was more like probably 30 or so.
Because of where he was standing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so I'm always the big guy of I'm going to put it right on the bottom of the heart, because if they duck, it's going to hit them.
I get that.
That's
I like to go right there between the heart and lung, maybe even bottom third of the lung, just because I know they'll drop in. But let's be real, we're shooting fast. We're in that very small percentage of
315,
of hunters,
320.
We're in that very small percentage of hunters that are shooting that fast.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, they have to aim bottom edge of the belly because deer's going to duck into it. Me and you, 30, 35 and in, hold it right on where we want to hit them.
Yeah, and I'm going to try to transition that a little bit this year, because I feel like I have in the past aimed a little too low, especially tree stands.
Yeah. Well, it's the pitch and everything is,
and it kind of come to mind this year. While I was having trouble this year, and actually I kind of quit hunting at that distance, man. I've been staying ever since then. Max 15 feet. I'm carrying 2 sticks with 8ers and getting at least 15. But the 180 that I shot,
this video broke my heart. He
had
another buddy of ours we mentioned earlier, Dylan, right?
Yeah,
he had Dylan with him videoing.
We were actually out there to get him a deer,
and you're like, no, Dylan.
We checked the trail camera before we get there, and I'm like, because I was gonna, give him free range. Just hey, man, we have a good 7-point that needs to be taken off. A good 7-point that needed to be taken off. He's old, going downhill.
Yeah,
and had him on that farm for quite some time. I think they had 2 or 3 years.
I'm not picky. I'll shoot him. Huh? I said I'm not picky. I'll shoot him.
We're gonna get some hunts in this year, I promise. But take him in there. I get everything set up. I'm having him put his saddle up. It's his first year saddle. It's his first year actually getting into hunting and starting to figure stuff out.
He went to TAC with y'all last year.
Yeah, and he did great, man. For shooting a bow for 3 months, and he was making 100-yard bombs.
That's awesome.
And he didn't even have the 100-yard pin, because he's shooting 60 pounds right now, because I want him to work on his form and everything.
Like my buddy Levi, he's shooting. Levi's a big dude. You might get to meet him. He's a big dude, and he's only shooting 65 pounds right now on a sweet bear. What is that? Resurgence long draw?
Yeah.
And sweet bow, super smooth.
It's smooth. And I think if someone that's a good starter bow for
Absolutely.
a lot of people. It's a good price range.
The best starter bow, in my opinion, that Bear has right now, getting off topic. I'm sorry. Is the gamekeeper? Yeah, it's a bow and all bottomland.
Does it come preset with
Yep.
everything you need?
Yep.
Okay, see that is perfect. And I don't like to make people think they have to go out and have all
Absolutely
this
not.
new
You
stuff.
don't have to go drop $2,500 like we did on our bows.
No.
A bear resurgence or a bear gamekeeper, bear legit.
I think it comes with time.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
I don't think you'll ever be able to outshoot a bow.
Yeah.
But you start to get a feel for something you like.
Absolutely.
Maybe a smoother draw or,
Yeah.
the back wall, like the back wall in a map.
Well, that's just like our buddy Wyatt. He's talking about getting that new prime form. And I'm excited for it. I want to shoot it.
The carbon and aluminum. Man, that's a love-hate relationship on that bow. And I think it's just because it's something new to the market.
Yeah.
Like, it really is. They changed the game with that, I think.
Absolutely.
I haven't got to shoot it yet.
I haven't either. The only prime I've shot, my brother had a inline 1, which is a little bit older of a prime bow, I think.
I've heard they're smooth.
Dude, it was amazing.
Yeah. But, so, I get Dylan out there. And I'm like, yeah, I'm pumped for him. I'm like, dude, this buck's been showing up every night. He has got this 100%. I'm like, before I leave, let me check trail camera real quick. I seen my target buck.
Yeah.
And he's never been to that area before. I've always had him on the other side of that farm. And it's just, I think it was getting later in the year. He was starting to maybe check some does in that area. And so I'm like, dude, I'm so, like, if this buck comes in, like, I hate to steal your thunder, but I have been chasing him all year. And dude, he had my number. Like, it was just getting frustrating. You could ask my wife. She dreads hunting season. She knows I'm going to be pulling my hair out, complaining, the whole nine.
Yeah. I told my wife the other day, she's got, what'd I say, June, July, August to make plans. Every other season after that hunting season.
Sorry.
Yep. And I said, I told her, I was like, technically not even June, July, and August.
I always tell mine when
because that's tax season and ASA season.
Yeah, I always tell mine right October 1st. Well, I'll see you in the spring.
Yeah. Well, can't even do spring. Well, I guess you can do from February to.
Yeah, she gets that little window until turkey season. But so, anyways, I've got his tree prepped.
Yeah.
And he's got his stand set up, and we're getting everything rallied, about to get out of there. And them deer kind of knew, they knew the game.
Yeah.
We'd come in there, feed, leave. They would come out. They didn't feel pressure from that. So I had a good feeling he was going to, get an opportunity, at least at a doe, because he was going to be okay with the doe too. So, and then I'm like, well, before I leave, I'll check trail camera. I check it. My target's on there. Okay. So I'm gonna
pack my bow.
Yeah. I pull mine out, and I'm like, looking around, trying to find a tree. I'm like, holy crap, where am I going to sit?
And a tree about that big.
Yeah. And so I'm like, we're running out of time. Like, these deer are starting to, show up in about 30 minutes. Like, I have to get in a tree.
Yeah.
So sitting in cedar and trying to cut a million limbs out and be quiet is not ideal.
No, it probably took your whole 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was very stressful too. Yeah. So I get into a tree, no bigger than, about the size of a softball.
Yeah.
And I'm a big dude, 6'3", 300 pounds. Like, it just, gravity was a big thing.
Not on your side?
No. And the wind, dude, every time I ended up having to take my lineman and tie it to another tree to keep me from blowing side to side. I was blowing 3 feet back and forth rocking. I'm like, this is not good.
You remember I was Snapchatting you when I was hunting earlier this year, and I was in a tree, probably an 8 to 10 inch tree, and I was only 10 foot up, and I was blowing hard too. And
it can be a sketchy deal, especially not even being that high, and you're still like, holy crap.
Because I can get a good amount because I've got an 8er on my bottom stick, and then I can get a good 10 foot, maybe 12 foot on 2 sticks.
I think when I shot that deer, I was no higher than probably 7 foot.
Yeah.
I mean, I can reach up and grab my platform.
Yeah.
But
shout out to Chris B. He likes to hunt 35 foot in the air. I'm scared of heights.
I think it's whatever works, man. There's been times where you've been in canyons and stuff, and that wind's swirling. There's nothing you can do to get away from it.
Yeah.
So the only thing you can do is get high.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had to do it for years in some of the spots.
Make make your scent drop. If it's going to do it that bad, make it drop.
And so, so I get up in my tree, Dylan's in his, and we're just kind of sitting there and getting everything ready, and have a doe blowing. I'm like, well, crap. I'm like, that's where that buck's going to come out of, guaranteed. Downwind. I'm like, this is not going to be good. And so I'm thinking like this hunt's over. Like we're busted. And probably 5 minutes after that doe blows, that buck comes upwind, and I'm like, holy crap! Instant shakes. I'm like, been chasing this deer all year, and no past previous history. He just a buck that showed up this year, and really caught my eye. Real heavy, perfect 10.
Yeah.
I mean, the mass on this deer was unreal. You'd have thought he was an Iowa buck.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he was ridiculously heavy, and they had good genes on this farm. They really did. I mean, for past several years, But so he's coming in. He's kind of working slow in, and he's really not like nervous or anything. He comes right upwind, and I just couldn't believe it. I was like, man, I have not seen this. And so he gets up, starts kind of working that scrape that was sitting there. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get my chance any second now. Had my bow ready, and he kind of he's standing quarter and 2, and which is a shot I will never shoot again. I will never shoot this again, and it probably cost me the deer.
And was he like hard quartered 2, almost frontal, or
no?
Was he
just slightly quartered 2, but the angle I was at, I was staring dead at his shoulder.
Okay, I can understand why you don't like that.
Yeah. And I start noticing, Dylan, being a first-time saddle hunter, which I was too, but I had a little better setup than he did.
Yeah.
And he was getting uncomfortable. I'm like, I need to make this happen now. Like, this buck is starting to get nervous. He's kind of, it seems like some of them older bucks just sense when something's wrong.
Absolutely.
And so
they got old for a reason.
Oh, for sure. And so I end up like, okay, it's now or never. Like, I am not going to watch this deer run away. And, like I said, it was all on me.
Yeah.
I get up, get my pin right on him where I want him, and I hammered the shit out of the trigger. I know exactly what I did. I got up there and I'm like, yep, boom, as hard as I could, like it owed me money. And I did hit him, but I hit him low. So another thing, he come in at 24 yards, and I was so nervous to range him. I wanted to be a statue.
Yeah.
And he just kept looking up, and eventually it's like he's either looking through me or he sees me and he just don't care right at the minute.
Start shooting ASA with me. I'm shooting judging class now.
I need to. It really did cost me this year. So he was at 24, and with my setup, that wasn't a big enough difference, but I went ahead and aimed low anyways because I'm like, he's nervous, and as soon as he put his head down, so if a deer ever puts their head down and you go to shoot, you better aim about a foot low where you're wanting to hit because their stomachs are going to touch the ground. And on that video, you see his stomach as he barrel rolled out of the way, hit the ground.
I mean, he had good size native grass, and the native grass was about that far from below his belly, and you could see there was about that much showing of his back when he dropped and rolled out of it.
So what I think kind of happened was And I've looked for this deer up and down. I mean, I've put several miles in looking, and I may have caught liver and had good blood starting off, really good blood, but it wasn't enough to make him slow down any. I mean, his first bed didn't come until about over 1,000 yards.
Because y'all had a drone out there, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah, and so at that point we did locate him.
Yeah. What drone services did you use? You want to shout him out?
He was a guy from Dover. If I remembered his name, you know who you are if you ever see this. But
we'll get you on the next one.
Yeah, I really do appreciate the time, and man, he's just very knowledgeable on it. And he actually cut me a deal just because I was heartbroken.
Yeah.
And I hated doing that. I hated seeing that animal wounded. I mean, that tore me up.
That's how I felt on that doe.
Yeah, and didn't sleep all that night.
Yeah.
Was hoping and praying, that he was still there in the morning, and get up, go to look, he's not there.
Yeah.
And on that day, I was already stressed, and so we didn't see blood where he was. So I'm like, oh, crap, he's fine.
Yeah.
And so we ended up calling it after about 6 or 7 hours. We had 8 guys out there just going back through everything.
Yeah.
And could not make it happen. But yeah, so that happened. You know, it is what it is. I think if you haven't shot a good buck and had it run off and not find it, you know, you ain't been hunting long enough. It happens. Yeah. It's something, you know, no one ever wants. No one ever wants to wound an animal like that. At least I don't think. I know I sure don't. That's why I shoot every single day to make sure. I think it's everyone's responsibility to make sure you are at your best.
Absolutely.
I mean, even at your worst, you know, you want to be at your best all the time. And so, yeah, it was just.
Everything good? Okay.
Sorry, we thought we were having more technical difficulties, but yeah. 10%. But
we'll talk a little more than we're at that.
But anyways, that was my hunting season this year, and then ended up setting the bow down. Was just frustrated.
Yeah.
And took my rifle out, and actually, that was a really cool story. But I think we're gonna save that one for another one, just because that I really want to, you know, kind of
really get into that.
Yes,
I'm cool with that.
It was such an amazing hunt, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I think I feel the most at peace and very close to God when I'm out in the woods.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yep.
And I'm not a big churchgoer. I should go way more than I do. And that, to me, being out there is kind of like my church.
Absolutely.
You know, I get a lot of time to reflect and pray, and it's just had another little mishap, but yeah, like I was saying, man, you know, being out in the woods, it's just been a huge passion of mine, and I think that is just where I feel the most spiritual, feel the closest to God. And like I say, diving back into, you know, my buck this year, I really want to get in that for another episode, and that's just going to be a very long, you know, talked about, because man, I think at the end of the day, I owe it all to him for that one. But that is in a long version of how I've got started hunting, how I've, you know, stayed up through the years and have been lucky enough to take some amazing animals, and very, very pleased with everything that's happened to me, and, you know, just very blessed.
Yeah.
And having land and having good friends to hunt on throughout the years. I don't think, you know, like where you were saying, you've kind of struggled having some land, and, you know, I think I could kind of take that for granted, you know.
It's one of those things that you never really know you're going to run into until it happens.
Yeah, and it actually has started affecting me a little bit, you know, with the laws and stuff changing, and, you know, more people figuring out about Oklahoma hunting, you know, have kind of come in and been able to take advantage of, and not advantage of it, but, you know, have the same opportunity. And, you know, just like I said,
Oklahoma is a very welcoming out-of-state hunter state. I think it is. And I do love that for Oklahoma. I don't have any big concerns on it.
I have a couple, but I think that's for another podcast, because I could go all day about, you know, some stuff maybe I would like to see them change.
Yeah, there is a couple things I don't like, but for the most part, I mean, I love how Oklahoma is very welcoming to out-of-state hunters.
Which I think there's give and take for everything. You know, you give something, you're going to take something.
A big reason on why I think Oklahoma's good for out-of-state hunters is I had a buddy, very good friend of mine, Cole. If you ever watch this, I love you. I miss you. He's in the Air Force, and he was stationed here at, I believe, Tinker for a little while, and he's from Wisconsin.
Really?
Yeah. And he was blessed with the very, very minimal regulations for out-of-state hunters. He was blessed to get to hunt with us.
Yeah.
While he was
awesome,
here,
man. I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, is sharing it with friends. I don't think, if you don't have no one to share it with, it's not. It means nothing. Meaningful. Yeah. So, but yeah, like I said, that is how I got started, and have loved every minute of it. I am just obsessed, and just trying to be an open book about everything, and also being a sponge, trying to soak up as much information as I can.
Everybody's got something they can offer.
Yeah, I believe that too. I mean, you know, I've learned a lot from you this year.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to be able to kind of show each other that stuff. But other than that, I think we want to kind of go into what you could kind of expect and maybe hopefully see. So I think this year we're going to go to TAC. We're going to try to do a podcast at TAC, maybe.
Hopefully a random.
Yeah, catch someone maybe that wants to give us, you know, nobodies, maybe the time of day, and some hunts we got planned this year.
Yep.
So I know we're going to try to get a couple hunts together with spring turkey.
We got turkey season.
And
In May, we're going to Texas to a ranch down there. We're going to hunt rams.
yeah, I think that's going to be a blast,
dude,
man.
it's gonna be
Kind
so
of
fun.
getting to hang out and be with the boys, kind of kick back, and
Yep.
you know, it's going to be like a vacation on top of a vacation.
Yeah.
Going from tack to that. I think it's going to be great.
And then in October, first part of October, we're going to try a panhandle hunt.
Go for that speed goat.
Yeah. Speed goat.
That's going to be a new one for me. I have
small population of mule deer up there. Small,
Yeah.
about 800,000. Last I looked.
Not near as much as some, but
yeah, try to get a mule deer. Really, just want to get out there and have fun with the homies. Try to get some shot.
Yeah, I think you can't go wrong being with your buds and
No.
kind of
No.
doing the campfire thing.
Yeah.
That's gonna be great. But anyways, I think that wraps it up. Unless you got anything else.
Get in the woods. Always be tinkering. About it.
Go shoot your bow. Peace.
Don't suck at archery.
That's a wrap.